Take a breath right now. Just one slow, deep breath. In and out. Because wherever you are right now, whether you found this during a quiet morning, a sleepless night, or somewhere in between, I want you to know that this space was made for you. You did not stumble here by accident. Something brought you here. And I believe that something was not random. Today we are going to talk about anxiety. We are going to name it, look at it without flinching, and then we are going to talk about the one who is bigger than it. The one who has always been bigger than it. The one who will always be bigger than it. Because anxiety is real. I'm not going to stand here and pretend that it is not. The tightness in your chest is real. The thoughts that will not slow down are real. The fear that shows up before you even have a reason to be afraid, all of it is real. And I think one of the least helpful things we can do for people who are anxious is to minimize what they are actually experiencing. Just think positive. Just relax. You are worrying too much. As if telling someone who is already drowning that they are too wet is somehow useful. No. What you are carrying is real. The weight is real. The exhaustion is real. And you deserve a space where that is acknowledged before we talk about anything else. So I am acknowledging it right now. What you are carrying is real. And you have been carrying it longer than anyone should have to carry it alone. But here is what is also real. God is bigger. And not just slightly bigger. Not just a step ahead. Not just mildly more powerful. God is incomparably, undeniably, sovereignly bigger than anything that has ever tried to take up residence in your mind and call it home. And by the time we are done today, my prayer is that you feel that truth settled deep in your bones, not just in your head, but in the place where anxiety likes to live. So take another breath, and let's begin together. Part 2. Let's talk about what anxiety actually is. Before we can talk about the victory, we have to understand the battle. Anxiety is not weakness. I need you to hear that clearly before we go any further. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not proof that your faith is small. It is not evidence that something is fundamentally broken in you. Anxiety is your nervous system doing what it was designed to do. It is sounding an alarm. The problem is not the alarm itself. The problem is when the alarm never turns off. When the alarm fires at 2 in the morning over something that has not happened yet. When the alarm goes off every time your phone rings, every time someone does not respond right away, every time life feels even slightly uncertain, that is when anxiety has moved from a signal to a squatter. It has moved in, put down roots, rearranged the furniture, and started making decisions on your behalf. And squatters do not leave quietly. Anxiety tells you that if you worry enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. That if you plan for every worst-case scenario, you will somehow stay safe. That if you stay in a state of low-level dread, you will never be caught off guard. But that is a lie. Worry has never once prevented a difficult thing from happening. Anxiety has never successfully controlled the future. All it has ever done is rob you of the present. And there is a very particular kind of cruelty in that, is there not? Anxiety takes the very thing it is supposed to protect, your well-being, your peace, your sense of safety, and destroys it in the process of trying to preserve it. It is like burning down the house to keep it warm. You sacrifice your sleep to worry. You sacrifice your joy to stay vigilant. You sacrifice your relationships because you are too consumed by managing the internal storm to be fully present with the people right in front of you. You sacrifice the goodness of today on the altar of a tomorrow that may never arrive in the form you feared. And here is the thing about the present. The present is where God meets you, not tomorrow, not in the worst-case scenario your mind has been rehearsing, right here, right now. In this breath you are taking at this very moment. Anxiety pulls you out of the now. It drags you into a future that has not happened or a past that is already gone. But God exists in the eternal present, and He is inviting you back. Come back. Just for right now, come back. Part 3. He sees everything you're carrying. One of the most painful things about anxiety is how invisible it can feel. You show up to work, you smile, you answer the group chat, you handle the responsibilities, you do the things that need to be done, and on the inside, you are barely holding it together. There is a version of you that nobody sees, the version lying awake at midnight, replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, the version that Googles symptoms at 3 a.m., the version that reads into every pause in a text message, the version that has already grieved a loss that has not even happened. And sometimes the hardest part is not even the anxiety itself. It is the loneliness of carrying it. The feeling that if people really knew how loudly your mind was running, they would pull back. They would worry. They would not understand. Or worse, they would try to fix it with all the wrong things. And then you would have to manage their discomfort on top of your own. So you learn to carry it quietly. You learn to perform okay when okay is the last thing you feel. You become very good at looking fine. And that performance is exhausting. But I want you to sit with this truth for just a moment. God sees that version of you, the one nobody else gets to see. He sees the 3 a.m. version, the overwhelmed in the grocery store version, the crying in the car before you go in version, the holding your breath waiting for bad news version, the version that woke up this morning and had to convince yourself to get out of bed. He sees all of it. And He has never once looked at what you are carrying and said, "That is too much. Figure it out on your own." He has never been inconvenienced by your worry. He has never grown impatient with how many times you have come to Him with the same fear. He has never thrown up His hands and said, "Not this again." He is a God who meets you in the middle of the mess, who sits with you in the dark, who does not need you to have it together before He will show up. In fact, His specialty is showing up when things fall apart. He is not waiting for the cleaned-up version of you. He is not waiting for you to manage your anxiety better before He gets involved. He is here, right now, with the anxious, unpolished, middle-of-the-struggle version of you. And that is where the healing starts. If this message is speaking to you right now, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have not already, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a word. Part 4. God is not surprised by what you're facing. There is something I want to say that might shift the way you see your situation. God is not surprised by what you are going through. He did not look down one day, see your anxiety, and scramble to come up with a plan. He was not caught off guard by the thing that sent you spiraling. He was not blindsided by the diagnosis, the relationship, the financial situation, the uncertainty, the grief, the weight of it all. Nothing in your life, not one single moment, has ever shocked God. And I know that might feel either comforting or complicated. Because sometimes when we are really struggling, part of us wants God to be as alarmed as we are. Part of us wants Him to match our urgency. We want to feel like the situation is as big to Him as it is to us. But here is why His calm is actually the best possible news. His peace is not the peace of someone who does not care. It is the peace of someone who already knows how this ends. It is the peace of a surgeon who is not panicking in the operating room, not because the situation is not serious, but because they have done this before. They know what they are doing. They are not rattled. And their steadiness is actually what you need in that moment. You do not want a rattled surgeon. You want one who has been here before and knows exactly what to do. God's steadiness is not distance. It is mastery. He is not far away, unmoved by your tears, indifferent to your pain. He is near. He is engaged. He is working. And he is not scrambling. The very thing that is making you lose sleep tonight. He is already working in it. He has already begun doing what only he can do. You have not seen it yet, but that does not mean it is not happening. Let me say that again slowly. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not happening. We live in a world that has trained us to only believe in what we can see, measure, and verify. But so much of what God does happens in the unseen, in the roots, not the branches, in the soil before the seed breaks through. There is more going on in the unseen than you know. And God is in that unseen space, moving, arranging, preparing, making a way where you cannot yet see one. You do not have to understand it to trust it. You just have to stay. Part 5. What kind of God we're actually dealing with. I want to pause for a moment and just remind you of who God actually is. Because sometimes anxiety makes everything feel so enormous that we forget. We forget the size of the one who is on our side. This is the God who spoke, and light appeared where there was nothing but darkness. This is the God who breathed, and a universe that stretches billions of light years in every direction came into being. This is the God who set the stars in their places by name, who designed the mechanics of a single human cell with more complexity than our most advanced technology, who orchestrates seasons, tides, and heartbeats without effort. This is the God who numbers the hairs on your head, who knows your name, who knew you before you were born and has been intimately acquainted with every single day of your life since then. And this God, the very same one, is concerned about you. Not just aware of you, concerned about you, interested in you, present with you. Now let me ask you something. If that is who God is, what does it mean for the thing you are anxious about right now? I am not asking that to minimize what you are going through. I am asking because I want you to hold both truths at the same time. Your situation is real, and God is bigger. Your fear is valid, and God is more powerful. Your uncertainty is real, and God has already seen the outcome. You are not fighting this alone. You are not holding the weight of your future by yourself. The same power that put the world in motion is available to you right now, in this moment, in your specific situation. Anxiety wants you to forget that. It wants you to feel small and alone and overwhelmed. But the truth is, you are small in the most beautiful way. You are small and you are held by someone unimaginably large. And being held by the largest thing in existence is not weakness, it is wisdom. There is a kind of courage that looks like letting go, and another kind that looks like holding on. The bravest thing you may do today is not white-knuckling your way through your anxiety on your own. It is releasing it into the hands of the only one who can actually do something with it. Part 6. The hardest part, letting go of control. Now here is where it gets honest. Because most of us, if we are being really transparent, are not just anxious because life is uncertain. We are anxious because we want control, and we do not have it. And we hate that. We really, really hate that. We want to know what is going to happen. We want to know that the people we love are going to be okay. We want to know that our effort will pay off, that the plan will work, that the future is going to resemble what we are hoping for. And when we cannot know that, anxiety fills the gap. It is almost like anxiety is our way of trying to stay in control even when control is not available. If I worry enough, at least I am doing something. If I plan for the worst, at least I am prepared. If I never let myself relax, At least I will not be blindsided. But here is the thing about that kind of control. It costs everything and delivers nothing. You spend your peace, your rest, your joy, your present moment. And in return, you get more anxiety, because you can never worry enough, you can never prepare enough, you can never be careful enough to guarantee the outcome you want. And at some point, exhausted from holding everything together by sheer willpower, we have to face a truth that our culture does not love to talk about. We were never in control. We have had the illusion of control. The comfort of predictable routines, the sense that our choices matter, the feeling that if we just do all the right things, life will behave. And those things are not nothing. Our choices do matter. Our efforts do count. But they were never a guarantee. And they were never meant to be the foundation. The only real antidote to the need for control is trust. And trust is not passive. Trust is not weak. Trust is not giving up. Trust is one of the bravest things a human being can do. It means saying, I do not know what is going to happen, and I am choosing to believe that someone who loves me does, and that is enough. That is not resignation. That is not pretending things are fine when they are not. That is not spiritual bypass where you slap a nice platitude on a real wound and call it healed. That is faith. Raw, honest, sometimes shaking, sometimes crying, but still choosing to believe faith. And God honors that. He honors the prayer that starts with, I do not understand this. He honors the hands that reach up even when they are trembling. He honors the trust that is imperfect but real. You do not have to have it all figured out to let go. You just have to be willing. If you have been needing permission to let go of something you have been white-knuckling, consider this your permission. Drop a comment below and tell me what you are releasing today. I read every single one. Part 7. How God actually moves against anxiety. I want to be practical with you for a moment. Because sometimes we talk about God's power in very abstract theoretical ways, and when you are in the middle of a panic attack or a 3 a.m. spiral or a season of chronic low-grade dread, abstract does not always help. So how does God actually move against anxiety? What does that look like in real life? First, He moves through peace that does not make sense. There's a kind of calm that God gives that has no natural explanation. When the situation has not changed, when the problem is still there, when you do not have the answer yet. But somehow, inexplicably, you feel okay. You feel held. You feel like you can take the next step. That is not denial. That is not delusion. That is the peace of God doing what only He can do, covering a heart that has chosen to trust Him in a way that the human mind cannot manufacture on its own. If you have ever experienced that kind of peace, you know exactly what I am talking about. And if you have not, I want you to know that it is available to you. It is not reserved for people with a certain level of spiritual maturity. It is a gift, and it is yours to receive. Second, He moves through truth. Anxiety is, at its core, a battle of narratives. Anxiety tells a story. This is going to go wrong. You are not going to make it. You are too much, not enough, alone, forgotten, already behind. And the way God fights that is with a different story, a truer story. You are not forgotten. I have not abandoned you. My plans for you are good. You are not defined by your worst moment. I am with you. You are loved. You are enough. You are going to be okay. When you fill your mind with what is true about God, those truths begin to crowd out the lies that anxiety has been rehearsing, not all at once, not overnight, but steadily, consistently, the truth makes ground. Third, He moves through community. God places people in our lives who carry peace, who speak life, who remind us of truth when we have forgotten it. Sometimes the way God reaches your anxious heart is through a friend who checks in at exactly the right moment, a conversation that lands like a lifeline, a community that says, "You are not alone in this." Do not underestimate the people God has placed around you. They are not coincidences. They are often the face of God's provision. And fourth, He moves through time. Some things are healed gradually. Some things require a process. And that is okay. God is not in a rush in the way we sometimes wish He would be. But He is always moving, even in the waiting, even in the silence, even in the seasons that feel like nothing is happening. He is moving. Roots grow in the dark. Faith deepens in the difficult. And God is working in every season, not just the ones that look like progress from the outside. Part 8. What Anxiety Cannot Stand. Anxiety has enemies, and I want to arm you with them. Anxiety cannot stand gratitude, not the performative kind, not the, "I know I should be grateful, so let me list some things" kind, but real, genuine, eyes-open gratitude for what is actually good right now, even in the middle of what is hard. Because anxiety survives on a diet of what is wrong, what is missing, what could go wrong. When you intentionally redirect your attention to what is right, what is present, what is good, anxiety gets starved. Start small. Start with your breath. You are still breathing. That matters. Start with something, one thing, that is good in your life right now. And hold it. Really hold it. Let it be real to you. Anxiety cannot stand presence. Anxiety lives in the past and the future, the regret of yesterday and the dread of tomorrow. Presence, being fully here, right now, in this moment, cuts off anxiety's supply. Practice being here. The feel of your feet on the floor, the sound of what is around you right now, the sensation of air moving in and out of your lungs. Every time you bring yourself back to right now, you are fighting anxiety. And you are winning. Anxiety cannot stand prayer, not because prayer is magic, not because the right combination of words will make your problem disappear, but because prayer does something profound. It moves you from the position of carrying everything to the position of bringing it to someone who can actually handle it. Prayer is not a performance. You do not have to clean it up. You can go to God mid-spiral. You can go to Him in the ugly cry. You can go to Him with the barely formed, not quite articulate prayer of, "God, I need help right now." He receives that. He responds to that. And anxiety cannot stand the decision to keep going. Not the decision to stop feeling. Not the decision to have it all together. Just the decision to keep taking the next step, even when the next step is all you can see. One step. That is enough. And God is faithful to meet you there. Part 9. You are not your anxiety. I need to say this clearly and let it settle. You are not your anxiety. Anxiety is something you experience. It is not who you are. It is not the defining characteristic of your life. It is not your identity. You are not an anxious person. You are a person who is currently walking through a season of anxiety. And there is a profound difference. Because one of anxiety's most cruel tricks is convincing you that this is just how you are, that this is just your personality, that you will always be like this, that there is no version of you that walks in peace, in confidence, in the kind of quiet joy that is not shaken by every wind that blows. That is a lie. And it is a lie that has been quietly stealing your future from you. Because when you believe that anxiety is your identity, you stop fighting it. You accommodate it. You build your life around it. You make decisions from within it rather than against it. But anxiety is not your identity. It is a visitor that has overstayed its welcome. And it is time to remind it who lives here. The truest version of you, the version God made, the version He sees, the version He is calling out, that person is not defined by fear. That version of you is capable, grounded, rooted, able to face hard things without being undone by them, able to sit with uncertainty without spiraling, able to trust the process, able to breathe. That version of you is real, and it is not far away. It is not some distant possibility contingent on everything in your life going right. It is who you are when you are anchored to something bigger than your circumstances. And that anchor is available to you right now. God is not waiting for you to be anxiety-free before He uses you. He is not waiting for your nervous system to be perfectly regulated before He calls you forward. He works through cracked vessels, through imperfect people, through lives that are still being made whole. You qualify, right now, exactly as you are. CTA, if you needed to hear that today, let me know in the comments. And if someone in your life is quietly struggling, share this with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is send someone a message that says, "I thought of you when I heard this." Part 10. What to do when God feels silent. I want to address something that I think gets left out of too many conversations about faith and anxiety. What do you do when you have prayed and prayed, and heaven feels quiet? What do you do when you have done everything right? You have trusted, you have surrendered, you have shown up, and the peace has not come. When the situation has not changed, when the breakthrough has not arrived. That is a real experience, and it deserves a real answer. First, silence is not absence. The silence of God is not the same as the absence of God. Some of the most significant things that have ever happened in people's lives have happened in seasons that felt silent. The seed does not hear the sun working. The roots do not sense their own deepening. There is enormous activity that produces no sound. God's silence is often the sound of Him doing something too deep for noise. Second, trust is not the same as feeling it. Trust is not a feeling. Trust is a decision. And sometimes the most powerful faith is the faith that keeps moving, keeps believing, keeps showing up, even when the feeling of God's presence is nowhere to be found. It is easy to trust when things are going well. The real test of trust is whether it survives the silence, whether it survives the waiting, whether it survives the, "I do not understand what is happening and I am choosing to believe anyway." That kind of faith is not common, but it is exactly the kind that moves mountains. Third, sometimes the answer comes differently than we expected. We ask for peace, and God sends a person. We ask for the anxiety to stop, and God sends us the tools to grow through it. We ask for the storm to end, and God teaches us how to navigate the water. Sometimes God's answer is not the removal of the hard thing, but the equipping for it. And while that is not always what we wanted, it almost always produces something that a simple fix never could have. So if you are in a silent season, keep going. Keep praying, keep showing up, keep trusting. The silence is not the end of the story. It is often just the most important chapter. Part 11. Seasons do not last forever. I want to talk to you about seasons for a moment, because one of the most disorienting things about anxiety is that when you are in it, it can feel like it has always been this way and always will be. Like this heaviness has been your permanent address. But seasons change. They always have. They always will. And even when the season you are in feels endless, it is not. Think about winter. There is no color. There is no warmth. Everything looks dead or dormant. And if you did not know that spring was coming, if you had no framework for seasons, you might look at that bare landscape and conclude that growth is over, that life is done. But beneath the surface, in the ground that looks frozen and finished, something is happening. The roots are deepening, the soil is resting. And when the time comes, new life breaks through, not in spite of winter, but because of it. Your season of anxiety may be doing something similar. Not because God caused your suffering, but because God is the most creative redeemer that has ever existed, and He has a way of using the hardest seasons to build the deepest roots. The faith that is being forged in you right now, in the middle of the fear, in the middle of the nights when you had to choose trust over panic, that faith is going to be one of the most powerful things you carry for the rest of your life. Other people are going to need what you are learning right now. The version of you on the other side of this season is going to be able to sit with someone who is struggling and say, I know what this feels like, and I know that there is a way through. Your experience is not wasted, your season is not pointless, and it is not your final destination. Part 12. Building a daily practice of peace. Peace, like any good thing, is something we have to tend to. It is not just a feeling that descends on us when circumstances align. It is a garden. And gardens require daily attention. So I want to give you some practical things to tend to. Start your day before the noise gets to you, before the phone, before the news, before the emails, before anyone needs anything from you. Give yourself a few minutes in the quiet. Breathe. Be grateful. Set your intention. Let the first thing your mind reaches for be something anchoring, not something alarming. This does not have to be an hour. It does not have to look a certain way. Even 5 minutes of intentional quiet before the chaos begins can change the entire trajectory of a day. You are not setting up a performance. You are setting an anchor. Talk to yourself with the kindness you would offer a friend. Most anxious people are extraordinarily harsh with themselves. They critique their worry. They shame their fear. They tell themselves they should be over this by now. They call themselves weak for struggling. But would you say that to a friend who was struggling? Would you sit across from someone you love who was fighting anxiety and say, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you just get it together?" Of course not. So stop saying it to yourself. Speak to yourself the way God speaks to you, with patience, with tenderness, with the kind of love that does not run out when things get hard. Move your body. Anxiety is not just a thought problem. It lives in the body too. Movement is one of the most effective tools we have for releasing the physical tension that anxiety creates. Walk, stretch, dance. Whatever form it takes for you, move. Give the energy somewhere to go. And return to God constantly. Not just in the moments of crisis, but in the ordinary moments of the day. A whispered thank you when you see something beautiful. A brief I trust you when the anxiety starts to rise. A quiet exhale that is also a prayer. Make Him the rhythm of your day, not just the emergency call. Part 13. God is fighting for you, even now. I want to remind you of something that can get buried under the weight of everything. God is not a passive observer of your life. He is not sitting at a distance, watching to see how you handle things, grading your performance, waiting for you to get it right before He intervenes. He is an active, engaged, relentlessly loving God who is fighting for you. Right now. In ways you cannot see. In the unseen places where your story is still being written. In the conversations you are not part of. In the circumstances that have not unfolded yet. In the hearts of people who are connected to your future. In the unseen realm where battles are being won on your behalf. He is not wringing His hands over your situation. He is not wondering if it is going to work out. He is moving. He is working. He is advocating for you with a love so fierce and a commitment so complete that it has no parallel in human experience. You are not just a person he made and set loose into the world. You are someone he knows, someone he loves, someone he has promised to never leave. And that promise is not contingent on your performance, your consistency, your spiritual state, or how well you managed your anxiety today. It is just a promise, full stop, irrevocable, unconditional, yours. And here is what I want you to do with that truth. Take it personally, not as a general theological concept, not as something that is true for everyone in theory. Take it personally, as in, this is for me. God is fighting for me. God sees me. God is working in my situation. God has not forgotten me. Say it out loud if you need to. Let it land in your body, not just your brain. Because when you know, really know, that you are not fighting alone, everything changes. If this content is blessing you, I want to ask you to do one thing. Share it with one person who needs to hear it today. One person. That is how this message travels. And if you are new here, welcome home. Subscribe so we can keep walking this road together. Part 14. The victory is already decided. This is one of the most powerful truths I know, and I want you to sit with it. In the economy of God, the victory is not something you are working toward. It is something you are working from. The outcome has already been settled. God wins, love wins, life wins. And because you belong to God, that victory belongs to you. Now, that does not mean the path will be painless. It does not mean every circumstance will go the way you hope. It does not mean you will never experience another hard season or another anxious night. But it means that none of those things get the final word. Anxiety does not get the final word. Fear does not get the final word. The worst-case scenario does not get the final word. God gets the final word, and His word over your life is redemption, restoration, peace, purpose, love. You are not a person whose story ends in defeat. You are not someone whose life is defined by what tried to break you. You are someone who is being carried through, not around, the hard things, by a God who has never once lost a battle. So when anxiety whispers that you are finished, you can answer back, not finished. Still becoming, still held, still moving forward. The war is already won, and you are on the winning side. Part 15. When anxiety makes you question your faith. There is something I want to address before we move into the closing. Something that I know is quietly sitting in the back of the mind of more than a few people listening right now. What does it mean about my faith that I still struggle with anxiety? If I truly believe, should I not be free of this? If my trust in God is real, why does the fear still come? If I have prayed and surrendered and read and journaled and done all the things, why does the anxiety still show up in the morning before I have even gotten out of bed? I want to sit with that question, because it deserves a real answer. Anxiety is not the opposite of faith. I want to say that slowly, because it is so important. Anxiety is not the opposite of faith. The opposite of faith is not struggle. The opposite of faith is not emotion. The opposite of faith is not the presence of fear. The opposite of faith is a settled refusal to trust. It is the decision that God is not good, that He cannot be counted on, that we are ultimately alone. And that is not what you are doing. You are here, you are listening, you are still reaching, you are still seeking. Even through the anxiety, you are choosing to orient yourself toward God. And that is faith. Faith does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move forward in spite of it. It means saying to God, I am scared, and I am still choosing you. That is not a small faith. That is one of the purest forms of faith there is. Some of the most honest prayers in human history have come from people who were terrified. Some of the most powerful testimonies belong to people who walked through the dark, not around it. The fact that you are still here, still trusting, still reaching, even when the anxiety has been loud, is not a sign that your faith is weak. It is a sign that your faith is real. Because real faith is not the faith that never doubts. It is the faith that doubts and still shows up. God is not disappointed in you for being human. He made you. He knows what this feels like. He is not grading your faith on how little you feel afraid. He is honoring the faith that keeps coming back. Part 16. Let's pause. A prayer for right now. I want to do something a little different for just a moment. I want to pray with you. Right now. Not at the end of a list, not as a formality. Right here, in the middle of everything we have been talking about. If you are in a place where you can close your eyes, I invite you to do that. If you are driving or doing something where that is not possible, just let these words wash over you. God, we come to you honestly. Not with everything figured out, not with perfect peace already in place. We come with the anxiety still here, with the questions still unanswered, with the fear still circling. And we choose you anyway. We choose to believe that you are bigger than what has been keeping us up at night. We choose to believe that your love for us has not shifted, even when our peace has. We choose to believe that you are working, even in the quiet, even in the waiting, even in the parts of our story that we do not understand yet. Will you meet us here? Not in a someday when things are better place, right here. In the middle of the messy, the anxious, the overwhelmed, the still figuring it out. Meet us here. Give us peace that does not make sense on paper. Give us strength for the next step, even if we cannot see anything beyond it. Give us eyes to recognize your hand in the small things. Give us grace to stop carrying what was never ours to carry. And remind us, as many times as we need to be reminded, that we are not in this alone. We are yours. And that is the safest place in the universe to be. Amen. Take a breath, just a moment before we continue. Let that land. Part 17. The person waiting on the other side of this. I want to talk to you about a version of yourself. Not a fantasy version. Not the version of you that has achieved all the things or arrived at some perfect destination. Just a version of you that has walked through this season and came out the other side. That person exists. I want you to know that. The version of you that has learned to sit with uncertainty without being destroyed by it. The version of you that can feel the anxious thought come, acknowledge it, and let it pass without chasing it for hours. The version of you that wakes up in the morning and the first feeling is not dread. That person is not a stranger. That person is you, with roots. Because that is what this season is building. Every time you choose to trust instead of spiral, you are laying a root. Every time you bring the fear to God instead of running from it or drowning in it, you are going deeper. Every time you show up, even when the anxiety is loud, you are becoming someone who cannot be easily shaken. And the world needs people like that. The world does not need more people who have never been afraid. It needs people who have walked through fear and found something steady on the other side. It needs people who have sat in the darkest rooms and still chose to believe in the light. It needs you, not the perfect anxiety-free version, the real version, the one who has been through something, the one who knows what it costs to trust and did it anyway, the one who can sit with a struggling friend and say, I know, I have been there, and here is what I know to be true. That is the person you are becoming right now. So do not rush past this season too fast. Do not hate it so completely that you miss what it is giving you. You are not just enduring a hard chapter. You are becoming the kind of person who changes rooms when they walk into them, because something in them has been forged, not just formed. God is making something in you right now, and it is going to be beautiful. Part 18. Anchoring Truths to Come Back to. Before we go into the closing, I want to give you something tangible, something you can carry with you, something you can come back to when the anxiety is loud and you need a place to stand. These are not mantras. They are not positive thinking. They are anchoring truths, things that are real, whether or not you feel them right now. And I want you to let them wash over you slowly. You are not too much for God to handle. Not your anxiety, not your fear, not your doubt, not the version of you that has been circling the same worry for weeks, not the version of you that fell apart last Tuesday. None of it is too much. He has never flinched at what you brought him, and he is not about to start. You are not behind. Anxiety loves to tell you that everyone else has figured it out, and you are the only one still struggling. That other people have moved on and you are stuck. But that is not a truth. That is a taunt. God does not operate on a comparison chart. Your journey is yours. Your timeline is yours. And he has not lost track of where you are or where you are going. You are not alone in this. Even on the days when it feels like no one could possibly understand, you are held by one who knows every detail of what you are carrying. You have not been abandoned in this season. You have not been left to figure it out on your own. Presence that cannot always be felt is still presence. You are loved without condition. Not because of how well you managed your anxiety today. Not because of how much faith you produced. Not because of how spiritual or together or consistent you have been. You are loved because you are his. Full stop. Nothing you could do would make that love more true, and nothing you have done has made it less. You have what it takes to get through this. Not because you are strong enough on your own, but because the one who is infinite in strength is with you. And with that kind of backing, getting through is not a question of if, it is a question of when. Hold those truths close. Write them on a card if you have to. Put them somewhere you will see them. Because anxiety will lie to you today and tomorrow, and probably the day after that. And you need to have the truth ready before the lie arrives. Which of those truths landed the most for you today? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more messages like this, subscribe and share with someone who needs this right now. Closing. A word before you go. Before I let you go, I just want to stay with you for one more moment. Because I know that whoever is listening to this came with something real. A weight that has been sitting on your chest. A fear that has followed you around for longer than you want to admit. A season that has felt too long, too dark, too uncertain. And I want to say something directly to you. You have been braver than you know. Showing up, even when the anxiety is loud, is brave. Choosing to keep believing when the evidence is not yet visible is brave. Waking up and trying again is brave. Reaching for this message when part of you wanted to just disappear into the noise of the day, that is brave. Do not minimize what it has cost you to keep going. God does not. He sees the quiet courage of ordinary days. He honors the faithfulness that nobody posts about. He notices the small decisions to choose trust over panic, peace over performance, hope over hopelessness. He sees all of it. And he is proud of you. I want to leave you with this. Anxiety will tell you that it is bigger than God. But that is the only lie it really knows how to tell. Everything else is just a variation of that one lie. And the antidote to that lie is the same truth it has always been. God is bigger. He is bigger than the diagnosis, bigger than the broken relationship, bigger than the financial pressure, bigger than the unknown, bigger than the past you carry, bigger than the future you cannot see. bigger than the fear that keeps waking you up, bigger than the worst version of anything you have been imagining. God is bigger, and He is yours, so rest in that today. Not because your circumstances are resolved, not because everything is fine, but because you are held by one who is greater than all of it. And that is enough. It is always enough. I love you, I am praying for you, and I will see you in the next one. If this blessed you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment and tell me one thing you are choosing to trust God with today. I read every single comment, and I am believing with you. Until next time, stay anchored.